Okay, so start recording. Right, so we started, mate.
Alright.
So, hello everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to say, right? This is Mark Hannon. And Mark, can you introduce yourself? I think you're a chess player, right?
Well, sort of. I'm about between 2,000 to 100, something like that. Well, probably 2,000 now.
Hmm. And you also have a history of you were on Mastermind at some point, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I was on Mastermind, and my specialist subject was Bobby Fischer. So,
Bobby Fischer, yeah. Why did you choose Bobby Fischer?
well, I sort of knew quite a lot about Fischer anyway, like most chess players of my age would. But although having said that, I was never really so into Fischer. I got into chess a bit before Fischer started, being famous with the Spassky Fischer match.
Sure.
I sort of got into chess because of Chernev's books and stuff. And
Irving Chernev, right?
yeah, that's right.
American author, right?
Author, yeah.
Sure.
For getting a sort of kid into chess, he made it all seem quite fun. Okay.
I mean, I don't know about. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, Bobby Fischer was an enigmatic, fascinating figure because I was, when I started following chess, it was really like 1980s, and at that point, Fischer was still in the middle of his retirement. So I was thinking, even when he played the World Championship match in 1984, when they played the World Championship match, in 1984, so it would have been like Karpov, Kasparov. I kind of got into chess a little bit after that, like late 80s,
Right.
in a bigger way. But, when Kasparov won the world title, he was 21. Fischer would have only been in his early 40s. So, it's kind of sad that he gave up during that period, really. It would have been fascinating to see how he would have got on against Karpov and Kasparov.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been capable. I mean, if he was born in 43, so.
Oh, hang on! You're not supposed to say that. You're giving away some of the.
Well, don't worry. I don't. Maybe you could work that.
Yeah, I knew that anyway. But the thing is, Fischer was a fascinating figure. So it's like everybody was fascinated with Fischer at that time. I remember, he's considered to be an enigmatic figure, and that always fascinated me. And I always wondered why he gave up, because he became world champion, and he basically quit chess. And everybody had theories about. I don't know if you agree with me. I think that he put a lot of internal pressure on himself. And eventually I got to the point where it became too much. So the easiest thing to do was stop playing chess competitively. He still followed chess and studied chess. From what I've read about Fischer, he still followed chess avidly. Whether he would have beaten Karpov, whether he would have beaten Kasparov, that's another debate entirely. But I think it is a shame that he stopped when he did, because he was obviously a great player. And really a true great, I would say. One of the greatest players ever. But yeah, I just wanted to talk briefly about your quiz experience. Did you appear on any other quiz shows before you went on Mastermind?
Well, I was on University Challenge.
Oh, right. What, as an older student or as a younger student?
Yeah, well, I was, but I would have been in my 30s then, early 30s. Yeah.
Right.
So when I was on University Challenge, and then it's not on the telly, but I was on Brain of Britain as well, the radio.
Oh, that's right. How did you get on that one?
Well, I did okay. I was probably second or so. I don't know if you know how Brain of Britain works. You get like
Not
five.
really.
You get 5 questions.
Right.
As soon as you get one wrong, it stops. And then the most you can get is 5, and then if you get all 5, you get a bonus.
Right.
So it was quite.
Well, you only get 5 on the entire program, or it carries on.
5 in each sort of each round.
Right. And what are the sort of questions like? I presume they're quite obscure. Some of the questions, right?
They're quite obscure. They're probably like say similar to a University Challenge starter question sort of thing. There.
Right.
So the one I remember being disappointed. It was something like what was the book and TV series that by Jacob Bronowski.
Oh, right.
Okay, and I
No, I've never heard of him.
he had a series called The Ascent of Man. Which
Oh, right, yeah. I have heard of that vaguely, yeah.
And I couldn't remember the word ascent, so I said the rise of man.
Oh, well.
I wasn't allowed that.
No, you wouldn't be, yeah. They're quite harsh, aren't they?
But anyway.
But Mastermind, so, I mean, just to say myself, I applied for Mastermind. I got to the audition phase, which is obviously, that's an achievement in itself. But one of the things I noticed, because I've been on other quiz shows, and they actually do a face-to-face audition with Mastermind, whereas a normal quiz show, you often turn up and there's like 10 of you or like 20 of you in a hotel room, and you kind of play these word association games. It's more light-hearted. Yeah. So that was the kind of the chase when I applied for the chase, and it was kind of like a group interview and stuff. But when the Mastermind was much more intense because they do like a face-to-face interview.
Right.
And you got through that, and then basically you got on, and your specialist subject was Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, because it was, the interview was in 2008 then. So and anyways, without giving anything away, I mean that was well anyway that was the year Fischer had died, and so
sure.
So it was more topical as well. So, but I think they quite like chess, because I know that not long after, someone was on Mastermind doing Tigran Petrosyan,
right,
specialist subject, and I think, to be honest, he got much harder questions than I don't know who sort of set them. They were asking things like how many moves was there in game 37, well, it wouldn't be 37 but whatever, 16 of the match with Spassky or something like that. I mean, so
actually, I had a general knowledge question about Tigran Petrosyan the other day. I said, what was the connection between Tigran Petrosyan and the actor Richard Burton? Do you know this one?
No. Does Richard Burton have any Armenian sort of?
No, that wasn't. Well, maybe he does, but the answer was they both died in the same year. They both died in 1984. So obviously Richard Burton was associated with a film 1984. He also died in that same year.
Yes.
And they died very close to each other, like in summer of 1984. I think Tigran Petrosyan died of stomach cancer, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I was saying, like, we're going about quizzing. Quizzing and chess are very similar, I would say, in some ways. If to be good at chess, I don't know if you agree with me, Mark, but I think you need a good memory to be good at chess, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it certainly helps. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Gukesh the other day, the guy who qualified for the candidates. He said, his mum was saying even from an early age, his memory was exceptional. And I think to be good at, any strong chess player, in my opinion, could be very good at quizzes, because it's a similar skill set. You're doing something that's competitive, and it's also mainly memory based. Chess is a lot to do with memory, in my opinion. So should we get on with the questions anyway, because we've done enough preamble.
Okay.
So you're going to read me the Bobby Fischer questions, and I'm going to try and answer them.
Yep, that's okay.
And then you're going to give me the general knowledge questions. And obviously, if I do badly, I probably won't bother to upload the video.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. All right. So. Okay. So next contender, please.
Yeah. There's no time limit on this. I think we'll just do it like.
That's right.
It's different in the show, right? Because you have a time limit on it, and it's more nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, in the show it's quite nerve-wracking because you have 2 minutes, and as you'll hear, the questions actually are quite long, and
yes.
And you sort of saying, "Come on, John, get on with the question."
Yeah. It's a different guy doing Mastermind now, is it? I think it's Clive Beery, right? He might have. They might have replaced him as well, possibly. Maybe he left as well. Right. Anyway, yeah. So what's okay?
So right. So let's go with the first questions then. So, right. Question 1. At what age did Fischer first win the U.S. chess championships?
13.
14.
Oh, was it? Oh, I've done no research for this, but I'm just going off my own.
Senior. I mean,
that's close enough. That should be close enough. I'll get a pass for that, right?
Now,
yeah.
With what opening did Spassky beat Fischer in Mar del Plata 1960?
King's Gambit.
Correct. In what country did Fischer spend 8 months while fighting extradition to the US?
Japan.
Correct.
Oh, very good. I'm doing well so far. 3 out of 3. Well, 2 out of 3.
What mid-70s, 1970s computer program was played by Fischer with 3 games being published?
Oh God, I know this. It's something like something Bell or something, right? But obviously you can't allow something Bell or something, right? What's the answer?
It was the Greenblatt program.
Greenblatt, right.
Greenblatt was to be in the program.
Oh, because they had all these computers back there. I think there was like a Bell type computer, wasn't there? It was like
that's
hello.
One of the first sort of world computer champion was a Bell one. Yeah.
Okay, got that one wrong anyway. Greenblatt, right? That's interesting. Yeah, I never got that one.
And then, in which tournament in 1967 was Fischer expelled after forfeiting 3 games by not turning up?
Was it the interzonal at Sousse?
Yeah, that's correct.
That was in Tunisia, right? Yeah. I think I remember that from memory. Yeah, because he could have qualified before, right?
That's right. He was leading the tournament, but
so arguably Spassky might have not have ever become world champion if he'd carried on.
Yeah, well, I suppose if he had, then he would have been in the candidates, but
in the matches, because you get through the tournament at that point. Then there were matches, right?
Would have put him in the matches. Yeah, Spassky would presumably have already been qualified from reaching the world
because he was the finalist against Petrosian the first time around. Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, Spassky still beat Fischer in 1970. And
no, he was very strong. I played Spassky over the board actually.
So he wasn't maybe quite in the full force that he was, in 70 to 72. Yeah.
No, but it's another debate, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, right. That's interesting. Yeah.
But so now 6. What piece did Fischer sacrifice against the much older Donald Byrne in 1956?
It was Queen.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
a simple one, isn't it? Like the Grunfeld game, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the famous sort of so-called game of the century.
Yeah.
Okay, so 7. Who insisted on playing on board 1 ahead of Fischer in the 1970 team match versus the Soviet Union?
Bent Larsen.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. I'm doing quite well. I'm surprisingly well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a Fischer expert.
So,
yeah, carry on, mate. Let's get some water.
In which Montenegrin town was the 1970 Blitz tournament won by Fischer with 4.5 points ahead of a field including 3 world champions?
Oh, it's something like Ron v Hargreb or something like that, isn't it? What? No, I've got it wrong. What is it?
Well, what I've got here is Herceg Novi.
Herceg Novi. Yeah, I knew it was something weird like that. Yeah, Herceg Novi. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I should know that off the top of my head. That's poor.
I think that place is another place where they had tournaments, but
I knew it was something like that. It's like a double-barreled thing. Yeah.
There was some place where in something like Kovac beat Fischer on the in the.
That's right. Yeah, it's some kind of resort place, like it's on the Mediterranean, like in the Balkans, right?
Yeah. Now, so 9. What variation of the Grunfeld did Fischer play versus Botvinnik in 1962?
Oh, it's the it's the one where you go an early Queen B3. What's that called? Fucking hell. I was looking at this. I actually had this the other day. I was playing tournament in Alicante and I played this guy. And he looked very old actually. He looked like, it was a bit like Mikhail Tau when he was older, right? And he sat down the board, and he was born 75, and I was literally shocked by his appearance because I thought this guy looks a lot older than what he is. Oh, it's the Russian system.
Botvinnik played the Russian system, but what variation did?
So it would have been. I don't know the name of the variation, but I know it was something like nice. He ends up with his queen on d6, right? So something like sort of knight c6, queen queen goes to d6, knight goes to bishop goes to g4, that kind of stuff. Is it got a particular? I didn't know that had a variation had a particular name. What's it called?
It's called the Smyslov variation.
Oh, the Smyslov variation. Yeah.
He plays that maneuver with knight back.
So how does it start? So when you go queen b3, you take, right?
It's queen b3, dc, queen takes c4, and then knight d7, knight d7.
Oh, that's right. Well, before you you've already castled by this point, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's right.
Because now they don't play that. It's kind of gone out of fashion, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a game. I seem to remember there was a game in between Karpov and Kasparov. It didn't go. It didn't end very well in that. Kasparov also often seemed to play knight a6.
That's a Prin's variation, right? Yeah, and you can also the a6 is very popular. Yeah, because I think I think I knew that at some point. That was called the Smyslov variation, but I forgot about it. Okay, so what's the next question?
Right. So 10. Who defeated Fischer 4-0 in the 1959 Candidates Tournament?
Wow. Who defeated Fischer? It's probably Mikhail Tau, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know he had a bad score against Tau, but then he beat him in some tournament. He turned it around eventually. But yeah.
That's right. It's in sort of my seat going to something like he goes, finally he hasn't escaped me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he mentioned that game in his book. I think he gave a loss against Town as well in that book as well.
Yeah, that's right. There's a famous game when something like Fischer writes down the move.
Yeah.
Because he didn't normally write down the moves, and then he sort of pushes it towards Tau to try and get a reaction.
Oh, to get a reaction. Yeah.
It's something like Rook E1 would win.
And Tau started laughing or something like
Tau
that.
got up and then just had a joke with Petrosyan or something.
Yeah. You couldn't do that now. You'd probably get banned for cheating.
Yeah. Is it? People often think Petrosyan as being quite dour and so on.
Yeah.
But in the clips of video I've seen, Petrosyan always seems to be trying to have a joke with people and so on.
Yeah. He was he was also a famous blitz player as well. He was supposed to be very good at blitz. Yeah.
Those are the stories that when Fischer was over in Moscow.
That's right. Yeah. Didn't he win that on a TV show? Right. He won that trip on a TV show, maybe.
That's right. There's video of him on like. Well, it's not called What's My Line, but it's a sort of show like that.
Sure.
Well, I've Got a Secret, something like that. And that's right. I think they pay. Whether they pay for his trip there or his trip to the Interzone. I think maybe the Portoroz Interzone on 58. It's something like that. Yeah, he wins the money to pay for the trip anyway. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and then, but that's on. Around on YouTube, I think. So there used to be a clip of that game show.
Yeah.
But now, right. So that was 10. So question 11 is: in what tournament in 1965 did Fischer play by telex?
Was that the USA versus Cuba, or something like that? No, something cup, right? Pologard Tea Cup or something. No.
Well, it was in Cuba, but I mean it was a normal tournament. It was called it was the Capablanca Memorial.
Oh, Capablanca. Oh, it's actually called the Capablanca Memorial.
Or it was a.
I wouldn't have said that. Yeah.
65 would be okay.
I knew there was a Capablanca Memorial.
Yeah.
So I got the USA Cuba connection correct, but I just didn't know the name. That's fair enough. So another failure.
Yeah. So Havana would be. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's played by telex. So I think Kolmov won a good game against Fischer there. There was
Ratmar Kolmov, was it?
Yeah. think it was a good game there.
Right.
So now, in 12, what piece did Fischer sacrifice against Spassky in Game 13 of the 1972 match in Reykjavik in return for 3 queenside pass pawns?
Oh, this is a famous game where he ended up. He was like a piece down. Was it? Maybe it was even a rook. Right. I'm gonna go for. He was either a rook or not a bishop. But I'm gonna go for rook. That's probably wrong.
That's wrong. Yeah, it was actually a bishop.
Oh, it was a bishop. Yeah, that's annoying. I should have known that one. Yeah, poor. Yeah. Okay. What's the next one?
Right. Oh, but if I could just expand on that one.
No, let's just get on the next. I'm annoyed that I got that one wrong. Let's get on the next question.
That is quite interesting. that question.
Yeah. Carry on, mate. Now, what were you going to say?
13 says, how many games did Fischer win in succession in the candidates tournaments of the 1970 to 71?
Wow, I used to know this. I actually don't. I'm going to go for the candidates tournament. So that includes the actual. Oh, that includes the matches, or just the actual tournament as well.
Well, if it's just the candidates tournament, well, I suppose tournament is a bit vague.
Well, obviously, you wouldn't be able to allow them to ask them to expand on it in the actual show, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was one that I slipped up on. But yeah.
Okay, I don't know. 18.
Well, it's 13 in the candidates because the match.
Actually, my first thought was 13. Yeah, that's first. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it's because anyway, it was quite trickily put because I was waiting for I think it's 19 or 20 depending how you think about the Pano game.
Yeah.
But
okay, what was how many questions we got left on Fischer?
Yeah, so 13. Then 3 more.
Right.
Oh no, hang on. Well, 2 more. So 14 is who took over as FIDE champion in 75 and reigned for the next 10 years?
Anatoly Karpov. Yeah, it's a simple one, right?
And 15 is what religious sect did Fischer belong to whose Sabbath caused conflict with some tournament organisers?
Oh, something like All Day Saints or Church of the Latter Day Saints or something like that. I can't remember. What is it?
It's called Worldwide Church of God.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Worldwide Church of God, yeah. So, how many did I get right? About 5 or 6, maybe less.
Right. So, sure. So let's see. So you got one. You got the King's Gambit. You got Japan. Then you got Susan Zonal.
Yeah.
Then you got Queen. Then you got Bent Larsen at 5. Then you got didn't hurt Chignovi. Didn't get the Smith variation. Got Tau.
Yeah.
Then didn't get Rook. Then how did they didn't get 13. Didn't get Karpov, and then didn't get. So I make it 7.
And how many you got? About 11 or 12, did you?
Yeah, I got 13.
Wow, that's impressive. And did you do any special research for that subject? Presumably you read up a few books.
It was about a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, but I sort of knew I was going to be on the programme.
Wow.
So I got a hold of about all the books I could get on Fischer.
And because I was reading about this guy, one Mastermind, he said he actually put 1,000 flashcards together where he'd have the answer underneath a piece of paper and then he would pick it up. So did you do anything like that, or did you basically just reading?
Well, I had books and I had an office at this college where I was teaching, and so I used to write any new Fischer facts on the blackboard, which I never really used the whiteboard. So I just wrote the Fischer stuff on the whiteboard as new things came up.
Wow.
So I got most of the books that were.
So you were probably the world's by the time you got on the show, you're probably the world's greatest expert on Bobby Fischer.
Well, I know about it. They're great. Some of these Americans are pretty keen.
So were you leading after the special subject?
Yeah, well, I think there were 2 or 3 people on 13.
Wow, so quite a tough school, that one. Okay,
Yeah.
so should we get on with the general knowledge now then?
Okay.
This is gonna be nerve wracking, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna really show myself up. This is when the video will definitely not be getting uploaded.
All right. So.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
Now. So. Don't worry, I haven't got a chaser in the back room. We're ready to come. Okay. So here we go. So here's the general knowledge. So number 1 is, which football team is supported by author Nick Hornby and featured in his first book, Fever Pitch?
Arsenal.
Yep, that's it. And then number 2, the Perigord is the most sought after type of which edible fungi?
So it did what?
Well, Perigord.
I'm gonna go truffle.
Truffle, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Truffle. And then 3, a true cockney is said to be being born within the sound of what?
Bow bells.
Yep, correct. 4, which gate closed in 1961 and was reopened with great celebrations in 1989?
Brandenburg Gate.
Correct. Who had a hit album with White Ladder in 2000?
Dido.
Apparently it's David Gray.
I fucking knew that. Oh, pardon my language. I knew it was something. I knew that fucking. So yeah, it would be quite funny if you did that on the show, wouldn't it? Fucking knew that. Fucking knew it. Right. Yeah.
I know. I did think what a ridiculous question, but anyway.
No, I knew that one. I actually knew that one. Yeah. I just got confused. Yeah.
Yeah. And then once I found I went to a village in Pembrokeshire where I lived, and I found that he came from this little village. So.
Great! It's a great album, actually. Yeah, it's a great album. But he was kind of around the same period, right? Because he did Stand with N&M. But yeah, I just got confused on it. Something popped in my mind, Dido. But I know David Gray very well. That's right. The problem is once you get one wrong, it kind of kills your momentum. So what's the next question? Let's just.
Okay. So 6. Which butterfly gets its name from 4 white patches which resemble punctuation marks?
Oh, I know this. So something like Cedilla, is it?
Well, it's the comma.
Comma. Oh, yeah. Right, carry on. Yeah.
Question 7. In medicine, what is the name of a sac that contains the fluid products of inflammation? The name coming from the Greek word for bladder.
Amniotic? No.
It's a cyst.
Oh, I fucking knew that, yeah. I've got a cyst as well on my stomach, yeah. Oh, I had one, yeah.
Now, number 8. Anitra's dance is from which work by Grieg, who wrote it? He wrote the incidental music to it.
Peer Gynt?
Peer Gynt, correct.
Oh, very good.
Number 9. What Derbyshire town has a spa that was originally built for the Duke of Devonshire as an attempt to rival Bath?
Oh, dear. I'm going to say Chesterfield, but that's probably wrong.
It's Buxton.
Ah, Buxton, yeah, of course, because you get mineral water from there.
You can get Buxton mineral
water. The Duke of Chatsworth, yeah, that's a famous house, maybe Chatsworth House. Sorry, Duke of Derbyshire.
Yeah.
Right, maybe Chatsworth House, famous.
Yeah.
Duke
of Devonshire, but in Derbyshire, yeah.
You often go that kind of way when you go into like foreign sales and stuff. You go like cross country.
Right.
You go down through there, and you go down to Birmingham.
Right. So you
go
around Birmingham.
I should have known that Buxton one. Yeah. So carry on, mate. Yeah.
So number 10. What are the sacred scriptures of Hinduism called?
I actually don't know. I mean, I don't pass. You know me. I never pass. Pass is for pansies. Oh, hang on. I'll be careful what I say now. I should know this and I don't. Like, I think it's something like, it's not Sanskrit, that's something else. That's like an actual thing, right? I don't know. What is it?
Yeah. The answer we were given was Vedas.
Vedas. I've never heard. How do you spell that?
Vedas.
Vedas, right. Did you get that one?
I think I did, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well done. No, you're pretty good then. Yeah. Okay, next one.
So, now, which Dutch artist was born in Delft in 1632? His paintings are mainly quiet interiors, and less than 40 of his paintings still exist.
See, I mean Dutch painters. I'm thinking Vermeer, I'm thinking Rembrandt, I'm thinking Rubens, but obviously I can't give them all. Right? Don't think it's because Vermeer was like, he used to do like the girl with the pearl earring, right? I mean, Rembrandt was around about that era, but I would have thought he was more prolific and probably had more paintings still left. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go for Rubens.
Well, like, it was actually Vermeer.
It was Vermeer, yeah. Fucking annoying, yeah. Jan Vermeer, yeah.
These quiet interiors and...
See, this is where the lack of specialist knowledge. No, I know some stuff, but I don't like. It doesn't all come. Okay, next question.
So, 12. What is the term for the wife of a United States president? Originally first used for Dolly, the wife of President Madison.
Ah, right. James Madison, right? It's First Lady, I think.
That's correct. First
yeah,
lady.
yeah. Should know that one, yeah. Right.
Question 13. Which fragrant...
How many questions are there in total, sir?
Well, we're on 13 and there were 15 questions in this set.
Oh, no. Right.
Oh, no, a few more. There were 17.
Right, we're on 13. Right.
4 or 5 more questions.
Hmm.
Which fragrant white spring flower is used as a symbol of May Day in France? Oh, and has the Latin name Convallaria vialis.
Well, I mean, poppy is associated with gladioli. I don't know.
Apparently, it's a lily of the valley.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
That was one I did get that as well. So, and as you can see, how that question was quite long, so you sort of wanted to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
probably wanted to kill I'll be wanting to kill myself at this point. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, which football manager won 29 major trophies, and whose first trophy was the Scottish League title in 1980?
Well, it's probably Alex Ferguson, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
it must be. Yeah, yes. They throw in like easy ones occasionally. Well, that's not everyone will know that. Though.
Yeah, that was one I didn't get. I said Paisley there, but.
Right. Yeah, because he was famously associated with Aberdeen as well. They were talking about it recently, and they got to the final, and they beat some team in the final, and he was complaining about their performance, and was saying like any other, this was like why he was so good, because even when they won, he was like complaining about how poor they were, whereas no other manager would do that, right?
Yeah, that's right. I saw that clip on Twitter or YouTube.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not long ago.
Yeah.
That's right, and he was.
They were comparing that with a guy who's in Den Targ or whatever, who's in charge at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the next question?
Okay, question 15.
Epic fail for me, this.
A German-born socialist philosopher who at one time lived in Manchester.
Right.
Wrote the condition of the working class in England.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I go Frederick Engels, but it could be.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's good. Great. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Because the other one would be Marx, right? But
yeah, that's right. But
yeah, it is slight slip up. Yeah, but I thought it might have been Engels. It's too obvious to be Marx. Marx is too obvious, I think. Yeah,
that's right. So they would maybe give a different clue.
Yeah.
But 16. What TV show was about a fictional American family? It was set in the 1920s and based on the memoirs of Earl Hammer Jr.
Really? Which? Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Which TV show was about a fictional American family, was set in the 1920s, and based on the memoirs of Earl Hamner Jr.?
Never heard of this at all. It's crazy.
Maybe Hamner Jr.
Hamner. Oh, right, Hamner. Well, it still doesn't mean it. I'll have to pass on that one.
That was the Waltons.
Oh, yeah. You see, that's before my time. You see, this is where it's like a weakness, like in your TV knowledge. I was a little bit past the Waltons, I think, to watch the Waltons. What's the next one after that, Mark? So final question.
Convoy and all that. Yeah. So final question, 17. What is the SI unit of pressure, being 1 Newton per meter squared?
I'm thinking joules.
No, it is the Pascal.
Pascal, yeah, I'm thinking Siemens, joules, Pascal. So how many did I get right in total? I didn't do very well there. Right. That was poor.
So
very disappointed.
Through. So you got Arsenal, got the Truffle, got Bo Bells.
Started well.
Brandenburg. Didn't get David Gray. 4.
Got David Gray. That was really
then didn't assist. Got Peer Gynt.
Should have got Vermeer as well. I mentioned Vermeer.
It was close with Vermeer. Got First Lady. 6. Got Ferguson. 7.
Probably 8 in total.
8 for Engels. And then so 8.
How many you got? About 11 or 12, did you?
I think I got
12.
I got 12 or 11. I either ended up in 25 or 26.
Yeah, so you beat me by 4. That's embarrassing. I feel you. I'm going to block you now on all forms of social media, and obviously not upload a video. No, I mean it's fair play. But the thing is, I think if I went on Mastermind, I would train up for it, and probably I know I'd have to improve my general knowledge. I wouldn't be good enough. I'm good enough because often I watch. Do you ever watch replays of Mastermind?
Oh no, not the replays. No.
So you don't watch it on? I watch it a lot on BBC iPlayer, and I'm testing myself on general. And often I beat the contestants, but then at other times I'm losing, and sometimes quite heavily. So I'm like, it's variable. I think a lot of it depends on the set of questions. Some set of the questions, without making excuses, fall in your lap, and in other sets, I hardly get a single question right.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're looking at ones from different years, I think the tone of them, can change how hard they have.
I've noticed when watching quiz shows, they often want people not to get through. So they'll give them a really bad set of questions because they'll be like, this person's no good for us. We want this one-legged lesbian to get through, right? Because it ticks our. Sorry, I'm getting homophobic. I'm joking. People watching this,
But
yeah.
But I think. You can just, and the thing is, as you mentioned, once you get one wrong, that rather knocks your thing. So
it's a momentum thing, isn't it? It's a momentum thing, yeah. But the thing is, I've noticed, with it, it's like if you're most contestants on Mastermind are often male, like middle-aged males like ourselves, right? Or older males. And so if you're a woman who applies for general knowledge show, you've got a much better chance of getting on, or in a minority, because they want a mixture of people, right? They don't want to just fill the whole shows with just middle-aged men. So it's actually tougher in a way to get on if you're a middle-aged man, probably in some ways, because there's so many, the vast majority of people who apply for these shows are. And I've also noticed the researchers are often quite attractive as well because they're they want the middle-aged men to fall in love with them, and then keep applying for the shows. You know what I mean? So did you after that experience did you feel a bit disheartened because you obviously got a very good score? You got 13 on the Bobby Fischer. You got 12 on. You felt like you'd really could have.
I got 25.
That's a very good score, by the way. I think even there's lots of people who win the shows who get maybe 21 or 20.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, as I say, I think it varies from year to year, because, for instance, in that year, what you did was before the second round, before the general knowledge round, you talked with John Humphreys for a bit. about your specialist
That's
subject.
right. That's right.
So
I must admit, I always found that bit a bit boring. Right, like when I watch on the replays, I just tend to, unless there's a subject that really interests me on the specialist subjects, I tend to go and fast forward to the general knowledge bit because I find that more. I prefer the general knowledge bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I find the whole thing about Bobby Fischer quite interesting as well. So, if you'd have got through that one, what was your specialist subjects going to be after that, or are you not at liberty to reveal it?
Well, I was planning to do the history of bridge. Okay.
Wow.
Bridge as well as chess.
Or the history of bridges. That'd be a tough subject. That'd be quite a wide subject.
Well, contract bridge, the card.
Yeah, sure.
So I figured that it was a fairly tight subject. There was just I only knew one or two books, whereas there was loads and loads of books on Fischer. And in fact, I don't think the questions were that bad for someone who was prepared for the.
That's given me an idea. If I go on Mastermind, I could do World Series of Poker winners. That would be the World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
Because basically, that's something that people have probably never done on Mastermind. Actually, World Series of Poker, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Which is actually a fascinating subject because you've got all these famous poker players from the past, like Doyle Brunson and Puggy Pearson and Sailor Doyle. Was it Doyle Sailor Doyle, or was Doyle Roberts, something like that? You ever played any poker yourself, Mark?
Yeah. I mean, I won a tournament to get a seat at the World Series.
Oh, you were in the World Series?
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually play. I spent the money on the car instead.
Oh, so you decided to cash it in?
Yeah.
So how did you win that seat then?
There was something. So it was funny. I think it was just before when I was on Mastermind, and then I started getting back into chess. But perhaps I'd have been better if I'd have just carried on with the poker. But so there was a sort of big. It was like a free roll competition in one of the poker magazines.
Oh right, yeah. When was this, by the way? This is going back.
This would have been sometime between 2005 and 2008.
Ah, so it's just after the poker boom, right? So the poker boom,
big poker boom when Moneymaker won, I think.
That's right, Chris Moneymaker. That's right, yeah.
Sure. So and so there was lots. If you went in somewhere like W.H. Smith's, there was like lots of poker or at least a few poker magazines on them. Like if you go now, there might be one or there might be a chess magazine if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But then there was a few of these poker magazines, and they ran this thing. It was full tilt poker, and they ran this thing called it was called Horse, which Horse in poker.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, there are 5 different sort of versions of poker you play, and they had 5 different tournaments.
Yeah.
So I won the tournament in Raz. Well, I didn't win, sorry, but I qualified in Raz.
Right.
And Raz is a game where you've got to get the lowest hand.
Right. Yeah. I think I've played that before. It's called other things as well, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah. It's like 7-card stud.
Yes.
Trying to get the lowest hand.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Did you ever play? What's the other one that they play a lot? Which is one where you get 4 cards in poker, right?
Oh, Omaha.
Omaha. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of them as well. Yeah. That's right. So you won. So you won a seat. Was that like through skill? Was it just partly through luck as well? Well, the thing was, so I got into this. So there was 10 people qualified from each of those 5 elements of poker. Right.
But how did you win that anyway? Sorry, I'm just slightly confused.
So then we went to somewhere.
There was an actual tournament where you won.
Then there was a face-to-face tournament.
So how did you? So you won it on playing a magazine.
Yeah. So then I won it. So only one person would win it out of 50.
Right. Yeah. And how did you win it? Was it just pure luck, or was it just like?
No. Well, it wasn't pure luck. Yeah. I mean, I was doing quite all right because there was 3 drinks, but I was staying sober for a start.
No, but I mean to actually get to that stage, how did you win through? I was slightly confused. Sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, okay. So I knew about this Raz game probably much more than most, say, British pokers would know about, right?
Yeah.
some people in America know about it, but most
Yeah.
English. So people had entered and they had no clue how to play.
Yeah.
So really, I was quite possibly one of the. So it was no surprise to me to get in the final 10 as long as I had reasonable luck.
Right.
But there was probably about 500.
But how are you playing it? I don't quite get it. If it was a magazine, how are you playing it?
Oh, right. So it's so the magazine ran the tournament online.
Oh, it's online,
So
right,
I've won
right,
Full
right.
Tilt Poker.
Okay. Yeah, right. That makes sense, right?
So,
yeah.
so there were 5 qualifying tournaments in each different.
Exactly, in each different form, and then you got through to the face-to-face.
Yeah. So there was 10 qualifiers. I think there was 50 people, and then that was just Hold'em, and I just won the 50 people thing. And so when it was down to 2, basically whoever won got, a trip, or at least the money to go to Las Vegas, and the second got basically nothing, like a chip set or something.
Yeah.
So it was all or nothing. So also that changes the mathematics of it. If it's all or nothing, it's how you play compared to a normal tournament. And
Sure.
So at certain points I had to go in. Well, I mean, at one point I had 2 aces bust by not very much when I was doing quite well, and then later on something like I got all in with something like 7.
This is still Raz, by the way. It's still Raz at this point.
Oh, sorry. In the final bit was
proper poker, normal
to
poker.
get to Las Vegas was all just Hold'em.
All Hold'em, right? Because I was going to say aces doesn't sound like a very good hand at Raz. I suppose you could count it as a 2, maybe.
No, that wasn't.
Yeah, it would have been a bad hand at Raz, right?
Yeah. So in Raz, what you want.
You'd have folded that,
6. Right? You're looking for a 6 high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. And but in the Hold'em part, so well, obviously there's a big amount of luck in poker, but I mean I figure if there was 50 people,
sure,
before false modesty aside, I figured I might have say 25 to 1 chance. I figured I was much better than average, and and there was free drinks, and some people went for the free drinks. So, so really, perhaps I should have kept on doing. But as it happened, I got sort of back into chess because of the Mastermind thing. So I might have been better off sticking with the poker. But So.
But you decided to just buy a car instead of going to Las Vegas.
Rather than go to Las Vegas. I mean,
A friend of a guy I know was a friend of mine. A friend of his called James. He used to be a train driver in London, and he got to the final of World Series, November 9, I think it's called. Where you get 9 people at the final.
Right.
I think he's been on TV as well. This guy, I can't actually remember his surname, but I know he. So it's from my neck of the woods in like Lewisham, yeah, I mean poker's it's a thing. The difference with chess is like chess is like the best players are probably always going to win. It's very very rare that you'll get underdogs coming through. Like last year in the British, you had this guy Stephen Jones finished second, he's still a very good player, right? I mean, he's not like whereas poker you could probably get quite weak players winning tournaments. So yeah, there is that. So you're a bit of an all-rounder, I would say, Mark. You obviously you're good at general knowledge, you're good at chess, you're quite good at poker as well. So have you ever had your IQ tested at all?
Well, I do know that. I thought it was the last thing I saw was on a BBC program, and it was like 137, but which is
that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's about 2.5.
I think I did I've actually got a video of me doing an IQ test on here, and I got like 85, which I was very happy with.
Well, I think that can't be right. There must be something wrong with.
Well, it was all just. I'm really bad at like puzzles when I did a puzzle bit. Like I'm quite good at things like words stuff. Like there's certain things I'm okay at. But like that, it just started getting like harder and harder, and I was just like. So by the end, I just started randomly guessing, which obviously brought my score down. But I'd probably be somewhere in the 110 to 120 bracket or something like that. But I mean, I think the IQ tests are some way of measuring intelligence, but I do think that Yeah, I'm a fairly bright person. I like to think I'm a fairly bright person, but yeah, going back to the Bobby Fischer thing, yeah, he had an IQ tested at one. I think he have an IQ test at something 185. He came out. It was a sociologist test, right?
Talk about this, yeah. But I mean, where did they get this figure from? You know,
because he didn't actually take a Mensa test, did he? I think he basically it was an estimate by a psychologist because he was too young.
Yeah.
I think you need to be a certain age to take a Mensa test.
So mathematically, you're talking about.
I'm not even sure Mensa existed back then. It was like talking about 1950s, right?
Because it depends. I mean, it depends on what the sort of standard deviation and the mean of the test. So I think the one that they normally quote is the mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15. Right. So, for instance, if you're 130, you're 2 standard deviations above the mean, so you'd be in the top 2.5%.
Yeah.
And so, so if it was based on those same numbers, then you talk about 180 is nearly 5 or 6 standard deviations. So that would easily be 1 in a million, probably.
Oh yeah, very rare to have an IQ higher than that. Yeah.
So
I think the world record is something like, it was like some Israeli woman who was like 200 something.
Yeah.
But that's, or you know, there's people like Terence Tao or something like that who's a very high IQ. But generally speaking, so would you agree with Bobby Fischer that he wasn't that he was a chess genius? He claimed that he was a genius who played chess.
I say that, yeah. But, well, we saw. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened to him post 72, 75. And then, because, I mean, he ended up being practically homeless. He could have picked up, say, £5 million just for turning up, or dollars, whatever, to pay against Karpov in Philippines. Oh yeah,
he turned down a lot of stuff. There's
an interesting thing that he didn't. I think there was something like they said, you know, could you advertise a drink, Coca-Cola or something? And he says, well, I don't drink it, so I can't say.
Yeah, quite a principled person. I think a lot of the stronger players are very principled. Yeah, they're very stubborn and strong-minded. Like the stronger chess players, I've noticed from my experience.
I think there's a sort of a bit of a thing that Fischer was probably some sort of autistic savant.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of chess players are autistic. Because that's not particularly unusual. Yeah,
he's a little bit. When you see that clip of him on the TV show, he's a little bit maybe not quite eye contact type thing, but
yeah, I'm a bit like that.
It's very smart, and then also this thing of being honest.
Yeah,
so not telling.
He's always honest. Yeah, he doesn't give like the correct. He doesn't give the kind of socially correct answer. Yeah. He just says what's on his mind. Yeah,
that's right. So
no, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
And of course, his real father wasn't a Fischer. It was someone Demenyi, who was a Hungarian physicist.
Right.
And apparently this physicist had a sort of reputation for doing brilliant sort of spatial sort of solutions of engineering problems and stuff.
There's a bit like that now, actually. There's a kid called Freddie Gordon who's very strong in English chess. British chess. He's Scottish, actually. And his grandfather is someone called Waldhausen, who's quite well known in certain mathematical circles.
Right.
Quite a famous mathematician. So I think there is a genetic factor involved. So I think he obviously had a strong aptitude for chess as well. You know, you can't just say I had very high IQ, therefore, you know, there's lots of probably very high IQ people who wouldn't necessarily be that great at chess, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Well, people talk about memory. They often seem to be good memories, don't they? I mean, So
definitely, because I think to be good, you need to have a very wide knowledge of chess, and therefore, like, you know, all top players, they know games, right? Even when I was playing Malcolm Payne the other day, and he remembered this move from like 20 odd years ago. He just remembered like 13 bishop c8, and I thought that was quite telling, you know, and just from his journalistic experience. But yeah, I read there were quite a lot of interesting books written on Bobby Fischer. I read quite an interesting book about his later days in Iceland. So when he gave out the world title in 72, obviously he had those famous conditions that he faxed to FIDE or whatever, and said, look, you know, I want to play the World Championship, and it's got to be the first 10 wins. And if the challenger doesn't win by 2-point margin, then I get to retain the crown, or the champion gets to retain the crown, right? Quite radical, you know, ideas he had, but obviously they were rejected for quite sensible reasons. But I think he just basically just put crazy conditions on because he basically just didn't want to play. Like deep down, he didn't want to play, right? But then he apparently he spent a lot of time in the library as well. That was what I read. He would go to the library, he would take the bus into the library. He was living in Sacramento or something like that at the time.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the public library.
Yeah. Well, I think that mirrors what he did in his later years in Iceland. I think he used to go to this bookshop, get a beer. I think apparently he used to have a beer that...
he'd drink. He'd have a beer in there as well.
I think he'd have a beer. It was I think it's a beer that was made in Oxfordshire. Sort of.
Oh, right. I didn't realise that. Yeah. And then he'd just sort of read these books in the, you know. And as you said, he then was saying, oh, I think I'm a genius of lots of things, not but. Obviously, that he was a bit out on many things. But probably when you're so devoted to chess, you're like, I feel that partly myself. I feel like you start to realise, you do that when you're younger. It's easier to be obsessional about something. When you get older, you're like, actually, you start to realise there's a bigger world out there. It's very hard to be completely devoted to something that's so kind of linear sort of thing, or so focused, so abstract like chess is. So you kind of start looking around a little bit, but but this book I was reading was by this journalist, this Icelandic journalist. He was saying, I spent this time with Bobby Fischer when he was in his later years in Iceland, and I found it fascinating. And he was talking about how he basically had this fear of doctors, and he knew that he had this serious problem that he needed surgery on, but I think he refused the surgery or something, right?
Yeah. So exactly. I mean, he might even still be around if we hadn't have done that. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I think we've basically covered everything. But I think I won't be uploading this video. No, I'm only kidding. I'll try and have a bit of humility. But the thing is, with anyone who's interested in general knowledge, I think you've got to do. Do you ever do local pub quizzes, by the way, Bart? Just a sort of final question.
Well, I did do in the past. I mean,
how did you get good at quizzing? Because you're obviously good at. Because I don't believe somebody could just be good naturally that good, unless you've actually read books on quizzing, or you've watched TV shows on quizzing, or you go down a pub. I can't believe somebody could be that good at quizzing by just randomly. I can't believe that somebody could just randomly turn up a Mastermind, not do any. Did you do any? What I was trying to say? Did you do any kind of research for the actual general knowledge part? Because you said you did research for the Bobby Fischer part. Did you do any research for the general knowledge part?
Well, how I prepare, I did some general knowledge. I got a book of general knowledge. What do you call crosswords? Just crosswords, right. And went through them. I just found that was a quick way of getting the knowledge, and then the actual thing of writing the words in sort of slightly solidified it. So I found that a quick way of revising the things, and so that was what I did. And then in the past I did play these sort of quiz machines in pubs a lot.
Oh, were you one of these people who went? Because it was funny. I was getting a lift yesterday. A guy called Johnny Nelson, and he used a very good quizzer as well, and he used to do. He used to play pub quiz machines for a living. So what you do is go around the country, and obviously this wouldn't go down well with landlords and stuff. So you'd buy the quiz machine. So what they'd do, they'd buy the quiz machine. It was like a group of them. They'd go around the country, they'd buy the quiz machine, and they would learn all the questions, and then they go into pubs and empty the quiz machine. But apparently you can't do that as easily now, because I think they upload them from, what you were saying, they upload them from the internet. So they change the questions quite regularly.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy to do that as it was.
No, I did something similar. That's right. So I mean, I didn't go to the length of buying my own machine, but I would just. I mean, I could win money on them anyway, and then I would just keep on playing them, and to the end, some of the more common machines I'd sort of had learnt all the answers, and so on. And then they might move them from pub to pub, but then I'd sort of go round different pubs until I'd suddenly find one.
Because one of the people that he used to go around with was a guy called Dave Rainford, who was tremendous knowledge Dave on Eggett's, but sadly he died a few years ago.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think with quizzing, it's all different levels, right? It's like when you see the questions in the World Championships, I've seen like the sample questions, they're very hard questions. So the question on Mastermind are pretty tough, but I think there's like levels above that. So if you're like a World Championship level quizzer, you go and play Mastermind, it's tough, but probably you've been in even tougher quizzes, right? So it's like, it's all different levels. But yeah, I think if you're a chess player, then it's... But anyway, yeah, I think we'll wrap the interview up there, Bart. But yeah, thanks again for... probably won't be doing one like this in future because I'll try to keep it to chess generally. But yeah, if anyone has any ideas for like quiz... Yeah. All right, Mark. So thanks again, mate. All right, I'll stop the recording.